Do you like me or do you respect me? I don't know. At least I cannot tell you. It is difficult for a woman to define her feelings in language which is chiefly made by men to express theirs.
Dayelle.
Amanda, hi. Yes, today we are doing...
Dayelle. Dayelle.
I'm just going to put a disclaimer out before Amanda says anything else that I had forgotten something that happens in the book that we will be discussing today.
Mm.
And it is very emotional.
So, we are doing Far from the Madding Crowd by Mr. Thomas Hardy.
Yes.
Which I was so convinced I had never read before, and then I was reminded that it is required reading in New York State, so I had read it. But maybe in school, I don't know. Okay. Dayelle said, oh my God, Amanda, we were recording our Book Nook, and if you've listened to the Book Nook, is the Book Nook coming out before this episode or after? We don't know.
I think it's coming out before.
Okay.
Yeah.
If the Book Nook has already come out, you'll hear Dayelle's excitement. I do just want everyone to remember that. The excitement she has. Oh my God, Amanda, you have to watch Far from the Madding Crowd.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about this one.
So, okay. First, the thing that I should drink by the gallon.
Yeah. What's our cocktail today?
Is the Madding Fog, which is just a play on a good old classic London fog. You're going to need some dry gin, some creme de violette, lemon juice and honey syrup, and then you froth a nice egg white. And it's a really gentle, creamy mouthfeel, like a very feminine but hearty cocktail.
Okay.
Just like our main girl. You know, she's very feminine, Gorgina.
Yeah, Bathsheba.
She is a badass.
Yeah. All right. So cheers. Drink up, Amanda.
I wish I could drink it by the gallon because...
Okay. So here, let's just start right off the bat. This book was published in 1874. So let's just put that there. Right out there, right?
It's a modern romance.
So it is an old book. You know, she's been around.
She's hardy.
So this is like 18th century world. So
Yes.
please keep this in mind as we talk about this book. And it's 2015 adaptation. There was a TV, like of course BBC did.
BBC, we love them.
Yes. I actually, ironically enough, have never watched that one. But I've heard very good things about it. I loved this version of it. So it is only the one that I've watched. So,
Okay. So I went home that day, that week that we recorded. And I had a really awful day at work because my regular job, it's not super fun for me. And I was outside and it was pouring rain. And then I get home and I'm like, you know what? It's that time of the month. I'm feeling emotional. Dayelle said this is a really good romance. Just a good, we love a period piece romance, right?
Yeah.
Like that's our jam.
Amanda's thinking like Notebook.
I'm
meets
thinking Pride and Prejudice. I'm thinking a little, I want to go to Austen Land.
A little Sense and Sensibility.
Yes. Give me something. Okay. Opens up. All right. This dude's hot. This sheep herder, this
Gabriel,
our boy, Mr. Oak.
Mr. Oak is Fama Oak.
He's adorable. And I'm like, oh, that guy was in Rust and Bone. Great movie. 2012 movie. Okay. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I see Carey Mulligan. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. Oh, yeah. I'm in. Now I'm in. I'm locked and loaded. What happens? Oh, he's got dogs. He's got 2 dogs. He's got old Georgie and young Georgie. Now I'm even more in, for those who don't know. Amanda is a pet animal person.
Because Gabriel is a shepherd.
Yep.
He cares for sheep.
And he has his own sheep. And young Georgie one night, old Georgie tries to wake him up. Young Georgie, still a puppy. He's getting reprimanded a bunch of times. Now, I do want to say, I had read, I think, 3 or 4 chapters of the book at this point. But I was just in the mood to just lay under some blankies, take a hot shower, watch something.
Yeah.
And then this dog, this collie, leads.
Now, keep in mind, collies are very high energy and they need a job. And when they have a job, they have to work. Like, that's what they're bred for, right?
Yeah.
And they can misbehave.
Absolutely.
Because that is what animals
and he's
do.
a puppy. Like,
and he's young, he's learning.
He points out, he's a young dog. He's still learning.
But he's a working dog in the 18th century.
She's trying to save herself because what happens here is this dog shepherds these poor little baby lambies off a cliff. They die on the rocks of a beach.
Yes, but we do have to mention that George jumps into their pen and makes them run out of the gate.
Yes, he opens the gate. He helps them.
They were enclosed in because he thinks he's working. So as far as George is concerned, he's doing his job. He's moving the flock.
He's moving them. He moves them right off a cliff.
All
That's
of them.
Bad enough.
You just see them all
and
fly
you hear
over.
them in the movie. You hear them smack and splat to the ground.
It's like a swish.
I'm like, this is a horror film? What am I watching? And then what happens? What happens?
Well, Gabriel wakes up.
Uh-huh.
And then he goes and he runs because he hears. He stops and he listens and he hears the sheep.
Yep. And he hears the barking.
And so he goes and he finds all the sheep have fallen over the cliff.
And they are dead.
And George is sitting on the cliff, very proud of himself.
Sure is.
Because he worked really hard.
And he's panting and he's just...
worked really hard. And then the scene shoots away and it's just the top half of Gabriel and a gun. And he shoots.
He shoots the dog dead.
Dead. You don't see it. They don't show you.
You hear the gunshot.
And you hear the thump.
Uh-huh.
And then he goes down by all the dead sheep. And then he has to sell his farm and his other dog. Because he has no money. Because all of his money was in the sheep.
Yeah. So just imagine menstruating Amanda on the couch screaming at the TV.
Yeah.
What? The actual.
And via text message to me.
I'm like, Dayelle, this is the meanest thing you have ever done. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about?
This was all caps. And I was like, oh, immediately when she first texted me and it was in all caps, I was like, wait, what happened? What did I do? And then I realized what I had done because I had remembered the most horrific thing that I could have done is give Amanda this book to read where there's a terrible scene.
I hate this movie. This is hands down the meanest thing you have ever made me watch. And she said, what movie? And then she wrote, oh my God. And I said,
it clicked.
He kills the dog and leaves the other one. She said, oh my God, I just remembered. And I said, I'm on my period. Dale responded with, oh my God, it is horrid. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That is like really bad.
And the whole time this conversation is happening, I am just envisioning you just sobbing on the couch.
Scream crying because I have no control.
And there's nothing I can do because there's nothing that makes it better. You kind of just hate this man now, which is not a good way to start the story because this is just the first couple of minutes of the show.
And he's the one I need to... Right away. You've got a tiny little lamb for me?
Yeah.
And then you're going to ask me to marry you?
Yeah.
Bro, you can do whatever you want to me if you're going to present me with baby animals.
Yeah, and I think too, so like if you, okay, so the movie obviously is the movie. The book is a very different vibe because you're kind of seeing the story through the eyes of Gabriel. And in the movie, it's kind of it's more through the eyes of, I wouldn't say the eyes of, it's not through the eyes of Gabriel. It's just his story than Bathsheba's.
It's more following her story, I would say.
And he is the one that's like describing what's happening, what's going on, Bathsheba, when he first meets her, all this different stuff. And there's lots of interactions between the two of them before this sheep scene happens. And it kind of leads up to this, and he has asked her to marry him. She, in the book, she is asked to marry him through her aunt. Like, he comes to the house, she's not in, And he basically says like, oh, I would like to ask for your niece's hand in marriage. And she's like, oh, good luck, basically, is what she says. Like, she doesn't ever want to marry anybody. And also, like, she's well educated. She, blah, blah, blah. So she runs after Gabriel and is kind of like, what is it that you wanted to ask me? And, he kind of talks to her and stuff. And this scene is different in the movie. It's much more like dramatic and intense, whereas in the book, it's
more conversational. It's very transactional.
Exactly. It's very much like, you are a woman. You are a beautiful woman. You will make a good wife. Let's get married. No, I don't want to get married. Okay, I'm leaving now. Goodbye. And then that's what happens. And then
in the movie, they also allude, which I don't remember if it's in the book or not, because I read it after I watched the movie, after the trauma.
Yeah.
She says to him, but I didn't say no.
Yes.
I just didn't say yes, essentially.
Yes. No, that does not happen.
Because that doesn't happen in the book. Okay, I didn't think so.
Here's the thing is she basically says, like, without saying it, she's basically like, I like you, but I don't want to marry you. I don't want to be anybody's wife, kind of thing. And he just kind of accepts that and, moves on. That's fine, whatever. And then all that terrible stuff happens with the sheep and stuff. He then goes, Bathsheba actually leaves, which doesn't happen in the movie either. It's a little bit different. She does eventually leave, but first she's the one that leaves the area. And then he has all this terrible stuff happen with the dog and the sheep. And then he goes off. Bathsheba has then been given her uncle's property. And so she's going to own this property, and she's looking for people to work on the farm and all this kind of stuff. And he's kind of pulled into that world and becomes a shepherd when he's kind of wandering around. He doesn't have anywhere to be. He has no job. He lost everything. And she has this farm, and he doesn't know that the farm that he's kind of walking to see if they're hiring is her farm. And as he's walking up the hill, he sees a glow, and the farm's on fire. In the movie, that happens very differently way later.
Yeah.
And so this is your first interaction with the two of them after all these terrible things have happened. He does become her shepherd. He also saves the farm, and that's how he gets the job, because he saves the farm. And there's always this kind of like chemistry between the two of them.
There's a very will they, won't they in the book, which you also get in the movie, but...
Yeah, but it's also still very much through his point of view, which I wondered if it's a little bit because it is a male writer. And I feel like the way things are written are so through a man's perspective, which is very interesting. There's lots of description of how she looks. There's lots of description about like her being this, like, oh, she can do just as much as a man can do. And it's like, yes.
Yep, we
get
can.
That. And with the movie, you get a lot more of her being like a feminism. Feminism?
She is a feminism.
Yeah.
Also, you get more of the stolen glances.
Yes.
Where I'm sure they were happening.
Yeah.
But Thomas Hardy's not really writing it.
No.
It's like, oh, I saw the one part he writes, he's like, I saw her looking perhaps at me, but she looked away.
Yeah.
That's basically his way of doing a stolen glance across the room.
And again, I think obviously this book was written a very long time ago, and so the wording that's used, the way things are spoken.
Oh yeah, the
lots
syntax,
of poetry,
everything.
There's lots of things that you probably won't understand, and thankfully in the version of the book that I have, there's a whole index at the back where it like tells you what certain words mean, because I was like, I don't know what that means. But I thought it was really interesting going back and reading it again, because I haven't read it since high school, and how it really does, like the movie really does stay true to the book. I think the biggest differences are obviously they changed the tone a little bit. They changed the pacing a lot. Like it's a much quicker pace than the book. The book
Oh my gosh,
is
the book
very
spends
dragged out.
so much time on Troy and
yes, so you get a
his
lot
lost
more.
love
And
yeah.
he's also, so Troy is a character that comes into play, and he kind of is like a whirlwind character. But in the book, he's a much bigger character.
He's
and
there
horrible.
for a while, and he's
horrible.
trash.
He's terrible.
I think the way that they did this in the book to movie, because in the book, he's written horribly. Like every horrible word that existed back then to describe a human, he's alluding to that version of this person. The worst thing you can be back then is having a gambling problem. You drink. You are violent with your wife. Like all of these things. He's already that person.
Yes.
But it's interesting because I didn't get as much in the book as I did the movie. In the movie, they kind of set it up so that he became this person because he feels like he got left at the altar. Where in the book, he was that person from the beginning.
Yeah.
He was a trash person.
Yeah.
Where maybe he could have been better had he, gotten the love he thought he deserved, the love of his life. But it's very much almost like, he blames everything that's happened to him. I mean, this poor woman just says, yeah, you can kiss me. I've never been kissed.
So we have to rewind a little bit because we didn't even introduce one of the characters that I find hilarious in the movie. He's such a funny character, is the neighbor to Bathsheba and her farm.
Boldwood?
Yes.
Poor guy.
He is way bigger, and his farm, the people that work on his farm, his friends, all this stuff, there are several characters that do not exist in the movie.
No,
if
they do.
They're minimal.
They're so minimal, but it's funny too because I'm a little bummed they didn't do that because he's beloved by his people.
He is.
He's beloved and he's rich and he's like...
He's a little quirky,
he's
but
kind of
lonely.
Weird and he's lonely, but he's so loving. Like everyone that interacts with him is like, he's a kind, good man.
Yes.
Kind, good man.
And Bathsheba kind of abuses that kindness a little bit. She's a little bit like, she's a very strikingly beautiful woman. She's single. She's very independent.
Yep.
She knows all of those things and really kind of doesn't, I don't want to say that she strings him along, but a little bit, because he pretty quickly starts to have feelings for her and wants to marry her. And she basically is like, no. Like, I just don't see myself marrying you. Yeah. And that's the same thing that happens in the movie as well. But
but in the book, she kind of sucks to him.
She does.
She does. And in the movie, they give her way more like, you're wonderful. It's just like, you're not for me.
Yeah.
But in the book, she's kind of like,
she strings him along.
You helped me out a lot.
Yeah. And
like, I'm getting a lot out of this relationship.
Back and forth between the two of them.
And listen, she sent the Valentine.
Yeah, I know.
She sent the Valentine.
I know, which really messes with him. And it's a little different in the book, but it's the same vibe of getting a letter and having these feelings, and then obviously
she sends him a Valentine sealed with red wax that says "Marry me."
Yeah. But in the movie, it's roses are red,
violets
are blue.
But because you just explained to him, he's a very quirky, lonely guy.
Yeah.
He is going to be like, oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Well, and the whole reason she does this is because he kind of ignores her. She goes to the feed market or whatever.
And he's a dick.
And he doesn't want anything to do with her. She's a woman, whatever.
And let's be honest, she's the only woman there.
Yes.
The men won't even look at her.
And so there's all of that kind of wrapped into there. And then obviously you still have Gabriel. He's the, he's working for her.
He's always there. He's the ever constant.
He's very present. And he's, he's lovely.
Delicious.
Except for the fact that he's terrible
A
sometimes.
dog killer.
But then there's also this subplot of this other character. Her name is Fanny.
Fanny Robin.
She is who Troy is, I'm going to use quotation marks because he says that he's in love with this girl, but this poor, sweet girl who actually worked for Bathsheba's uncle left the farm because she wanted to marry this sergeant who is Troy. And I wrote a little note of her story because I felt like this was it's sad because I think the movie, it gives you her story, but it's so minimal. And I think the book gives you way more of her, and it also wraps it up in just like it's one of the most devastating, like, okay, separate what happens in the beginning of the book. You get to her story, and like anytime she comes into the book, it is heart-wrenching. Like, you feel
her life is terrible.
It's horrible. She just can't catch a break.
Terrible. So from day one,
so
this poor
basically,
girl.
this is the story, and I'm just gonna like read what I wrote. So Franny is in love with Sergeant Frank Troy. So it's the Troy guy. They're secretly engaged, which is all part of this thing. But Troy from day one has never treated her well. He always speaks very poorly of her. He also is just like very, very serious, and like he's not a very loving person. And he also teases her a ton. He manipulates her into thinking that she is his one and only, and she's going to live this beautiful life. And it's terrible. Like, he really messes with her feelings. And so they plan this kind of like elopement to get married. And they discuss a church that they're going to meet at. And this poor girl mixes up the church. She goes to the wrong church. And all of this happens in the movie.
But they don't talk about what's happening and why it's happening, which you lose so much. You lose so much of it.
So what happens is, in the book, she misses the ceremony because she went to the wrong church. Well, her and Frank meet back. Troy. I'll use Troy, not his first name, because it's a little confusing. They meet back up after, and he is furious because she didn't show up. And so he calls off the engagement and blames her for everything, and just basically is like, this was the biggest mistake of my life. Like, I should have never said I was going to marry you. Now, what you don't know, but you kind of start to figure out, because there's a lot of letters that are being written between them. She's pregnant with his child. And that's also part of the reason why they were going to get married. Well, what ends up happening is after the engagement and then the wedding that fails, Fanny disappears, and she's living like in poverty and
in squalor, begging for money.
Yeah, she's so sad, and it's very sad. So she ends up dying in a poorhouse along with her newborn child, and she dies from illness and just exhaustion because she has no way of making money. She has a new baby. It's really, really sad. Her request, and I'm assuming she must have either written a letter, or I don't remember exactly how she ends up getting returned, but she basically asks to be returned to the farm. And so her body is brought back to the farm, and Bathsheba at this point has married Troy, and she demands to have the coffin opened. And there's a lot of rumors as well around the farmhands and stuff about the fact that Troy had gotten this girl pregnant and then called off the engagement and all this kind of stuff. But Bathsheba just didn't believe it. She was like, it's just rumors. People are just, they just hate soldiers kind of thing. And this is also kind of a big part in the movie where the coffin shows up and Gabriel wipes off the fact that it says Fanny plus a baby or a child. He wipes the chalk lettering off, and Bathsheba doesn't see what it says. But then, of course, when she opens it up, there's a infant in the coffin with Fanny, and Troy obviously comes in, sees the bodies, and is just like he becomes overwhelmed with grief. But what's interesting is like he treated her so poorly, so like to feel the way he feels at that point seems very weird and like off. And he also, in a very like nasty fit of grief and rage, basically says like he's never loved anyone the way he loved
and
Fanny.
She's nothing, and
Bathsheba is nothing to him.
And he also in the book, he like loses his shit and is like, I'm spending all the money I have, which is all her money, on a marble statue to erect in Fanny's honor.
Yes. But then he also kind of just disappears. And in the book, I mean, in the movie, he goes for a swim and then they say that he's dead. But in the book, he just kind of...
It says after a long walk, he bathes in the sea, leaving all of his clothes on the beach.
Yeah, he just kind of disappears for a while. And then he does resurface in the book, and in the movie, it's a little bit different. There's a lot of talk of people seeing him around after Bathsheba thinks that he is dead. He's not dead. He's just, in the movie, he's like pretending to be dead. And he comes back at the Christmas party, which the other factor to this is... her neighbor, whom I'm not Boldwood, had asked her to marry him. And he said, can you give me a decision by Christmas? And she basically says, okay, I will.
Sure, I'll give you a decision. And, you know, he is like so sure. He's like, she's never broken a promise. She would never break a promise to me. She's going to do this.
Exactly.
And Gabriel's like... But she, bro?
But she's never given you a promise.
She didn't promise to you. Just saying she'd give you an answer. That's not a promise to yes.
Exactly.
But because Boldwood is like so... There's also a scene when she marries Troy. Like the way that it's written, it's more like Gabriel... You can experience his heartache, right? Like you can feel that his heart is broken. But the way that Boldwood's heart's broken, I forget what the line is, but it's something like he's just never experienced such grief.
Yeah.
And he's just crying. And then Michael Sheen playing in the movie, he's crying. I can't do it.
I know, it's so sad. I also like one of the lines in the movie that just sticks out to me is when Gabriel says to Bathsheba that he'll stay with her for a while, but one day he will leave her. And I like that, like hits, because the fact that he stands by her side through all of this.
And he says, I want to leave you, but I can't because I care for you so much. So as long as I care for you this much, I'll stay by your side. But one day I will leave you. And it's just like, you killed a dog, but I'm on your side now.
I know.
I'm on your side.
I know. And you're really like rooting for him. And there's like other things that happen throughout the movie that you're just like, oh, okay, he's like such a good guy. And Troy is such an just terrible person. God, and there's just so many elements of that, right? And so obviously he also wants to help. He wants to pay off all of Bathsheba's debts of her husband and all this stuff. That's also another factor in this pursuit of her. And he also is very much like, I will, you can still run your farm.
Yeah, he was like, you don't even have to live here with me.
Yeah.
Oh, this baby, poor Boldwood.
Yeah, it's really sad. And in the book, there's so much more. And there's so many more conversations between her and him that, like, go back and forth. And he's constantly like, well, if I just give me 6 months, just, you know, like, well, just think about it. You don't have to. And she's like, I don't know what I want to say to you. And he's like, well, just, you know, think about it. You don't have to give me any. And this back and forth of like just all over the place. So all of that said and done, the Christmas party comes, and this is when potentially Bathsheba will give her answer. And it's just a whether or not she will marry him. In the book, he's basically given her like another 6 months before she actually has to marry him after she gives the okay. But like there's all this. And well, who shows up at the Christmas party but this, you know, terrible Troy guy. And you know, of course, it's like a moment where some other stuff has happened at the party. Bathsheba's on her way to go back home, and Troy's walking up the driveway in his uniform. And Boldwood comes out right as Troy is basically saying to Bathsheba, like, if we're being honest, like, I just, you know, enjoyed being dead, but then it got to a point where I had no more money, so I came back for money. I need money.
And you have to give me money.
And Bathsheba's like, there is no money.
You took all the money.
And he's like, well, then sell the farm. And she's like, I can't. No, like, I'm not selling the farm. And he's like, well, come home with me. We'll talk about this. And she's like, no, I'm not going home with you. And he goes to grab her arm, and this is different in the book. There's like a
it's more
of
violent
people.
Yeah, and it's more violent in the book where he is so unhinged at this moment that him going for her is like he's gonna kill her.
It's very
everyone
dramatic.
Thinks that she's like going to be killed,
and
at
there's
the
a
hands
lot
of
talk throughout the party of like all these different people have seen him, and everyone's like, is this for real? Like, did you actually see him? And there's all this buildup, and then all of a sudden he says to Bathsheba, he's here. Troy is here, and brings him in, and then there's this whole scuffle. Obviously, Boldwood shoots said Troy dead. In the movie, it feels very quick, whereas in the book, it takes a little bit longer. And then you kind of just move right into Boldwood just walks down the driveway and potentially just gets put into jail, and there's that. And then Gabriel is kind of left to kind of close up Boldwood's estate. And he goes upstairs and he finds all of this stuff that's for her, Bathsheba, and her name is, there's tags and all the dresses.
All of her dresses are made for her.
Boxes for
jewelry
Christmas.
upon jewelry.
Just it's really
really
sad.
It's really sad. And just to bring it to the movie, the cast for this movie. Bananas.
What's funny is they perfectly, I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but they perfectly cast this.
It's really well done.
It's well done.
So you've got Carey Mulligan as Bathsheba, and then you've got Matthias Schoenaerts. He plays our boy Gabriel, Mr. Oak.
He's perfect.
He's so good. Tom Sturridge plays Troy, and he's really good.
Yeah, and
he's very hateable, but he's just good looking enough that you would want to marry him.
Yeah, and I also think in the book he's described very differently, but I appreciate the fact that they made him a more visually likable guy.
Because it makes you understand why she went for him the way that she did.
Exactly.
And then our girl Keely from Ted Lasso, Juno Temple, she plays dead Fanny Robin. Bad times for her.
That poor girl.
Poor girl.
And she's the one that tells Gabriel to go to the farm in the very beginning. They see each other and yeah.
And then you've got Michael Sheen who plays Boldwood, and he plays that character it's really chef's kiss.
It's really well done. Although all I can think of is Twilight.
I know. Poor guy.
I just can't. It's the eyes.
It's the red eyes.
So so this is a perfect way to then wrap up the way this book and movie end.
Okay.
So the movie ends beautifully, right?
Oh, wonderful.
It's such a
he's leaving. He's going to
Gabriel
America.
Tells her hey,
it's time to go.
It's time.
I told you it would happen.
I'm going.
Bye-bye.
And she just kind of doesn't really know what to do with that. And the scene ends, and it's her in her house early in the morning, and she's, in her pajamas still, and she's thinking. It's very Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth, when she's having that right before they walk into the field and that whole,
the scene, you mean?
The scene. And so she's then at her work table, and she's working, but she can't focus. And you see Gabriel starting his journey. He walks out of his house, all this stuff.
Oh, I also love that old George
I know,
is
stayed.
Crying. He's like,
yeah.
What are you? Go get my dad.
Him.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
He already killed my brother. Go get him.
Exactly. Please go get him. So she, gets on horseback and she runs after him. And very much a very epic scene where she catches up to him and she's like, I have to know, did I do something to offend you? And he's like, no, I told you that one day I would leave you and today's that day, kind of thing. And she's like, but I don't understand. I thought you were my sweetheart and I was yours. And he's like,
doesn't she say you were I was your first sweetheart?
Yes,
yeah.
And he's like, yes, of course. And she's like, why would you not marry me or something to that effect? I don't remember
why
exactly.
Haven't you asked?
Yeah. And he basically is like, wait, what does she say? She says something like,
he says, well, if I did, would you say yes?
And she goes,
or would you say no?
I don't know. Ask me.
No, he says, if I asked you, would you say no? And then she says,
I don't
probably.
know. Yeah. And she does that little smile
Yeah, and then
thing.
she's like, I don't know. Why didn't you ask me?
Yeah.
Ask me, Gabriel. I'm like,
me.
fucking ask her, Gabriel.
And then he just goes in for it. And
he goes in. He doesn't even ask her.
And it is.
There's no asking.
There's no asking. And then that is pretty much it. That's it. The movie is over. Okay. The book.
Uh-huh.
It is a little bit different.
Okay. Talk
us
through it.
So we don't get the same conversation with the two of them. So what happens is Gabriel sends her a letter and says, hey, peace.
Hey, bestie, I'm out.
I'm going to hit the road.
Okay.
She's pissed. She's angry, and she vocalizes this anger, and she goes back and forth. This is at night. She's like stirring in her anger, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to his house. She walks her little self down to his house.
At night. This is scandalous at this time.
This is scandalous. Knocks on the door. Wow. He opens the door, is kind of shocked that she's at his house because he doesn't have
probably in her night shift.
Lady folk come to the house. And very specifically, he talks about having 2 chairs, but they're not comfortable. But he has 2, so if you'd like to sit on these 2 chairs. So they both sit down. And it's the same conversation as that scene where she runs with the horse and she's like, did I offend you? Like, why would you? It's almost word for word the same conversation where it's like, I thought you would.
But on uncomfortable chairs.
His whole thing is one of the reasons he's leaving is because there's been chatter of the 2 of them because she's not a married woman anymore. He's a single man. She's still of marrying age. And so his...
Also, fuck the patriarchy. You're always of marrying age, but keep going.
So there's 2 reasons he's leaving. One, he saved up money and he bought a little farm.
He's going to have a little farm.
And on Lady Day, he's going to sign the papers for his little farm. And he says to her that he also doesn't want any of the rumors to kind of like come out about the 2 of them because he doesn't want it to hurt her reputation. And she's like...
Such a little gentleman.
She's like, what? And it says, what? Said Bathsheba in surprise. Things said about you and me? What are they? And he's like, I can't tell you. And then she's like, it would be pretty wise for you to tell me, I think. And then they kind of like go back and forth. And then he comes out with, it is nothing that you have done this time. It amounts to this, that I am sniffing about here and waiting for poor Boltwood's farm with the idea of getting you someday. Meaning, if he just hangs out with Bathsheba for a little bit longer, eventually Boltwood would give him his farm because he's in jail and he can't have the farm. And then he'd be able to get Bathsheba. And then she's like... What do you mean, get me? What does getting me mean? And he goes, marrying you in plain British. You asked me to tell you, so you mustn't blame me. And then they just go back and forth for a couple of minutes. And then it's just like, he asks her, it said, she's not very alarmed by the fact that he says that he wants to marry her. And then she says, marrying me? I didn't know it was that. I didn't know it was what you meant. Such a thing as that is too absurd, too soon to think of by far. This is really good English.
Yeah.
And then it says, this is Oak, basically, Gabriel saying, yes, of course, it is absurd. I don't desire any such thing. And then they kind of argue back and forth a little bit. And then it says, Gabriel then says to her, you are still of marrying age, and it's not absurd to think that someone would want to still marry you. And she said, too soon? Like, what? What do you mean too soon? Why did you say that? And he's like, well, they're literally like cannot figure out what they're trying to say to each other.
It's like who's on first.
Exactly. And then it's just basically him saying, so if I was to, let me see if I can find the exact.
Dale's reading the book.
It's similar to the movie where she's like, then just ask me. And then he goes, But how would I know if it was too soon? Sorry. If I only knew one thing, whether you would allow me to love you and win you and marry you after all. If only I knew that. But you never will know, she murmured. Why? Because you never ask. So Gabriel then says, my dear. And then he's just like, they just go back and forth and they never really talk about it. It ends, and they're still going back and forth about him getting the farm. He's leaving in the morning. The chapter ends, and it goes, the most private, secret, plainest wedding that is possible to have.
Oh. How romantic.
The end.
Romance written by a man.
The end. But there's like 100 more words after that, and it's literally just the two of them arguing about what they're going to do the day of their wedding. And then there's like a group of men that come from the other farm, and they're like, we had to see it to believe it. And then they're like, you got married. And that's it. I'm not joking when I say the words are just so like...
Guys, I listened to this. I did not read it, and I did not finish listening to it. So Dayelle's giving me some real time.
This is the very last line of the book. I'm going to try.
Ready.
I'm going to try to read this. It says, but since 'tis as 'tis, why it might have been worse, and I feel my thanks accordingly.
Wise words, honestly.
Yeah.
So
as you can imagine, if you're reading like the physical book, that is how the words are, because they're farmers, right? It's like the working hands of the farm, and they're the ones that come to like talk to Gabriel about him getting married, and it's a little rough. It's a little hard to understand what they're saying.
You know, it's like slang. It's 18th century slang. I do have some movie fun facts for you.
Okay, because I'm over this.
So, Carey Mulligan was asked, which is what I said before, who she would pick of the three suitors, because there is like a little threesome action here.
She's 100%.
Just like, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
She must feel so hot. For a woman that never wanted to get married, everyone wants to marry her.
She also has this thing where she wants to be wanted. It's why she marries Troy.
Because he's like,
because I'm in love with this other woman who's more beautiful than you.
And doesn't she have a moment where she's like, I couldn't let it happen.
Yes.
I couldn't let it happen. Like, girl, I get that. I feel that so hard.
Yeah.
Who she would choose out of the three. And she said, I probably would have gone for the guy with the baby lamb in the first 20 minutes of the film. I mean, same. Right? She also, Carey Mulligan is the person that suggested Matthias Schoenaerts for the role, because she saw him in Rust and Bone and said, the minute I saw that, I told him, that's him. That's who I want.
The minute I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. And they shot the movie in 53 days. And actually, Matthias Schoenaerts is the only non-British in the cast. And he dubbed his own voice in the French film. So, must be French. All right, ready for this?
Well, I would say his name seems...
He went to farming boot camp for 2 weeks, where he learned everything there was to learn about sheep. He learned how to get rid of bloat. He learned how to shave them. He learned how to bathe them. He learned how to do everything that came to do with sheep, because he wanted it to look real. And this is my favorite. Do you know in the scene in the movie where Carey Mulligan and Michael Sheen are singing "Let No Man Steal Your Time"?
Yes.
It's a traditional Irish-British folk ballad. It's such a really sweet scene, because
it is really sweet.
Oh my God, he is so in love with her, and she's just like, I'm just singing this song, like, stop falling in love with me. It's very annoying.
And Gabriel's just watching them the whole time. Yeah. It is a very sweet scene.
It's so sweet. This is, I will say, where is this? The title of this entire book is based on the 1751 poem by Thomas Gray called Elegy, written in the country churchyard. And one of the lines is, far from the madding crowd, ignoble strife, their sober wishes never learned to stray. Along the cool sequestered value of life, they kept the noiseless tenor of their way. And in this sense, madding means like frenzied, like the crazy people, which adds up for this book.
It does, yeah.
My favorite fun fact, are you ready for this? It's a little bit different in the movie, but there's the scene where Bathsheba is trying to impress Gabriel and all the farmhands, because she's telling all these people, like, I am one of you. I'm going to be working the farm with you. I am not your master, which when Troy comes in when they get married the night of their wedding, he's like, I'm your master. Like you know, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he is.
But there's this moment where they're bathing the sheep. So all of the men that were standing in the water, they have wetsuits under their costumes for the movie, right? So they're not really getting wet.
Super wet, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the sheep are going in and out, right? Like they had to shoot that multiple times.
Yeah.
When the sheep go in there to get bathed, it's natural. They're going to piss and shit.
Yeah.
So all day, the men are complaining because they're in piss and shit. She's wearing a dress and a blouse. She said, I had no wetsuit on. I just had to keep wading through sheep shit all day. And they had the audacity to complain. They're in wetsuits, and I am just standing in sheep shit all day long. I think that is the funniest thing in the world.
It's really funny.
And the only other thing I will say about the movie is beautifully shot.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
It was Thomas Vinterberg. It was his first period piece. And
it's very romantic. Like
yeah.
the visuals are very pretty.
I will just say this though. I mean, this is, set in what is it? Wessex?
Weatherbury is the name of the farm. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the name of the farm. But it's
know.
set in it's Weatherbury.
I don't actually know where
Wessex,
it's set.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's partly real, partly dream country that unifies his novels in Southwest England, but I just wish that it just sucks we have nothing old in this country.
I know.
Have you looked at the pictures of Thomas Hardy's estate?
I know.
It's Gorgina.
I know.
What do we have?
I know.
We've got nothing.
We've got.
God bless you. This is a hard one for me because I didn't finish the reread. I've got like a few hours left. What was it? I ended in chapter 40 something, 40,
yeah.
45.
It's in hieroglyphics, so I don't know what chapter.
Yeah, yours is in hieroglyphics. It is one of those books that if you like classic literature, you will enjoy. I really enjoyed it a lot. I love stories like this. I love the language. I do enjoy it. If you do not enjoy that, don't bother reading it. Just watch the movie. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
If you are a dog person,
skip like the first.
If someone's out there that can make a non-dog dead version of this, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah. I think for me, I would recommend doing the audiobook if you're going to read it, because I do think the story is it's
really beautiful, but you have to be able to handle the language.
The language is really hard. If you do the audiobook, it's a lot easier of a read or a listen. But I do think it's worth reading it and watching it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
this version of it. I can't speak to the other versions. I think there's
a
two.
BBC4 radio show that I think I would really like to. It was 2012.
But there's also an older one that I didn't have
that.
much.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that. So.
Yeah, me either. So Dayelle, thanks for making me watch dogs get shot.
I'm sorry. I'll do better.
I won't. We discussed we are even because I did not warn her for Bridget Terabithia.
Yeah, that was rough.
So we're even now.
We need to have like a proofreader who like reads the books before us that we
Lisbeth.
know. Lisbeth. All right.
Okay, so this one final. This is a bother for you.
Yeah.
Both are for my enjoyment, but if you don't like this type of literature, this type of language, definitely watch it though.
Yeah, I would say it's a good one.
It is a good one. It's a good classic.
It is. It's very beautiful.
I needed a good cry.
Visually.
Thanks a lot.
Except for the one. On that note.
All right.
Until next time.
Bye.